All right, the last thing that we're going to do with these trig functions is we're going to find missing angle measures as well. And so what we've seen so far is we can punch in a decimal we can punch in an angle measure and we can hit the sine, the cosine, or the tangent function, and it's going to give us a decimal approximation for the ratio of the sides. It says, what if we already know the sides and what we really want to find is the angle measure? Okay, so what we need to do is we need to find something that's going to undo that ratio. In other words, we need the inverse. Okay, we're going to use the inverse. So the sine function has an inverse sign. It says sine with a little -1 by it. We have an inverse cosine. Cosine with a little -1 and tangent with a little -1 is the inverse tangent. And you also have those on your calculator as well. And you'll see the function with a little -1 by it. And on my calculators, in order to access it, you do have to hit the shift button. Okay, so this time, instead of putting the angle measure in, you're going to put in the decimal that you're given, like the decimal of 0.5317, and you're going to hit the shift key, and you're going to hit the inverse. In this case, I want the inverse tangent, so I'm going to hit shift, and then I'm going to hit the tangent button. And I get 29.999, so we're going to round that to the nearest degree, or 28 degrees. Okay, and we could do this with any of these on our table. This is the table that's in your packet. You could take the sine value. So if I punch in the decimal 0.7193, okay, and if I want to undo that and get the angle measure, I'm going to hit shift and I'm going to hit the sine button. And I get 45.996, which rounds to 46 degrees. Okay, so anytime you're trying to find the angle measure, you've got to use your inverse function or your little trig function with the -1 by it. Okay, so let's see what this looks like. We're going to set our problems up very similarly as we did yesterday. Okay, for example, they're asking me in this example to find this missing angle measure up here. That's an angle measure because it's inside the figure and it's kind of tucked away in the corner. So they want the measure of angle A. Okay, what do I have labeled on the triangle? From this angle A, the reference is I have the opposite leg and I have the adjacent leg. So which function deals with opposite and adjacent? Okay, which trig function? Okay, hopefully you said that's the tangent. So this would be the tangent of the angle X is going to equal the opposite, 14, over the adjacent leg. Okay, when I have this set up, I need to divide this and get the decimal. So I'm going to say tangent of x equals, I'm going to put 14 divided by 9. And I get 15 with 5s repeating. Okay, we always go out about 4 decimal places when we're working with the trig ratios. Okay, and now I can leave that decimal on my calculator and I want to go back to the angle measure. So this is where we use the inverse function. So I'm going to hit my shift key, hit the inverse tangent key. I get 57.26, so x is equal to 57 degrees. Okay, when I find an angle measure, make sure you label it in degrees. Okay, that's the only example that they give us, unfortunately, but you've got a worksheet that you can start practicing that, and if you're having trouble with it, make sure you contact me.